Hey everyone, I'm back, and today I'm going to be talking about all the movies I saw in June of 2018. And if they weren't initially released in June, then whatever, who cares? But these are just the movies that I saw in June, and I do have to apologize because I did record this before, but for some reason the video wasn't being very nice to me, or it just wasn't letting me upload it because it was too long. It was over 30 minutes, and I have 8 movies to talk about, and I'm going to make this as quick as I can. I'm not going to go too in depth with all of them because I don't want to go over 30 minutes, but I will talk about the movies I saw. That will be enough to help you understand how I feel about these movies. So let's get started. Our first movie up is Deadpool 2. I thought this movie was pretty great. I don't think it's as good as the first Deadpool, and the only problems I have with it are a couple of the performances. That kid who's in it, he's not very good in this movie. I believe he's from Hunt for the Wilder People. I haven't seen that, but he wasn't very good in this. I never bought him in the movie. And the second performance that I didn't like was T.J. Miller, which was shocking to me because I loved him in Cloverfield. I thought he was excellent in that movie, and he was great in the first Deadpool. Don't know what happened here. But aside from that, Deadpool 2 is great. It's very funny. Ryan Reynolds says Deadpool is perfect casting. I can't see anyone else playing this character as of right now. And the rest of the performances are pretty good, and it's not convoluted. It also makes fun of pop culture, which is in Deadpool's character. And that's basically all I really have to say about it. There's not much to talk about, mainly because it's a comedy, and I don't really want to spoil any of the jokes if you haven't seen it. So that's Deadpool 2. Moving on to Solo: A Star Wars Story. What a mess this is. Ugh. I'll go into some good things first. There are good performances here, for the most part. There's good production. Once we get into the second act, that's when the movie gets interesting. The music's good. I don't really remember any scores from it, but I remember liking it. Probably some other things. Can't really think of them here. The guy who plays Han Solo in this, he's fine, I guess. I think the main problem with Solo: A Star Wars Story is the entire movie just feels like a fan film. It's exactly what you think it would be, but in a fan servicey way. And I'm not really sure the best way to describe that. What it also felt like was they wanted to tell a story that we knew, but just didn't know how to present it, and they just kind of cobbled together what they could. And I know about the behind the scenes, it was kind of a disaster. It kind of took the route of the Star Wars prequel trilogy, where they told the story that was hinted at, from what I remember, but they just tell it in a boring and just unconvincing way, if you ask me. And that's all this was. And also, it kind of felt like they didn't really understand why anything from the original trilogy, or Han Solo, why that character worked well in, how do I put this together, the newer films, or the original trilogy. It kind of felt like they didn't understand what worked about the character of Han Solo or Chewbacca or anything like that. They just did what they could, and it just wound up being a mess. And that's all I have to say about Solo: A Star Wars Story. Next up, we got Book Club. Ugh. There are about 8 jokes at best that worked. There are good things in it somewhere, possibly. I just didn't enjoy this movie at all. The acting isn't good. The script isn't good. It feels like a cliched whatever. The people involved just felt like they had no idea what they were doing, and they just cobbled together something, and it just wound up being a mess, and it didn't know what it wanted to be, and this is what we got. We got Ocean's 8. Whatever. I have nothing to say about Ocean's 8. I'm not really into heist films. They're probably my least favorite genre of film. I don't know the best way to describe it. They just don't interest me. And this one had its moments. There are some good performances in it. But overall, I was just not interested at all. I found it cringeworthy at points, boring at other points. I don't remember anything about it, to be honest. It was just a very disposable film that they just threw out into the theaters, and hopefully it'll make some money, and I don't actually know if it did make money. But I don't really care. So moving on. Next. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Meh. The production and performances and the look of the film is great. Chris Pratt is really good in it. The only thing that ruined this movie for me is the script and most of the performances. Did I say performances were great? Because I take that back, because there are only 3 good performances, and that's Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, and the little girl in the movie. The script is a mess. It doesn't know what it wanted to be, and one other thing. I wanted, at the end of The Lost World Jurassic Park, where there's a San Diego sequence, the San Diego sequence with the T-Rex running around. I wanted that, but extended, and what I got was just a convoluted film that really is all over the place, and bleh. That's all I have to say about it is bleh, bleh, bleh. Next up, Tag. Tag was alright. You watch it, you don't really get much out of it. The performances are fine. There are some good laughs in here. The first act is a lot of fun. Whenever the game Tag is going on, it's fun. And that's about it. As the movie goes on, it kind of gets boring, and I just wasn't interested in it anymore. But overall, if it comes on, if you run into it on Netflix or TV or whatever, and you watch it, you'll have a good time, I guess. But it's not something you need to see here right now. Next up, we got, what was it? Action Point. I had fun. I'm serious. I had a lot of fun with Action Point, to be honest. It's not a great movie at all, but it's a movie I thoroughly enjoyed. I don't have much to say about it, and I know a lot of people didn't like it, which is why I'm not going to recommend it, but that's the producers of Jackass behind it, which is probably why I liked it, because I'm a fan of the Jackass series, and just Jackass in general. I enjoyed it. I'll probably never rewatch it ever again in my life, but I enjoyed it for what it was. So, it's a movie I liked, but don't see it. Alright, now going on to the best movie of the year, if you ask me, and here we go. Hereditary! Hereditary is the best movie of the year. I think that the only thing that's holding it back is when it goes to a horror movie, and just a few little things. And there's one thing in particular that made me laugh unintentionally that was so stupid looking in the way it was executed in the third act. But this movie has really, really great performances, and the first act is excellent. My jaw was on the floor, and not a lot of movies make me do that. The only movie the last time that happened in a theater for me was Mother, and I didn't particularly like Mother that much. I thought it was fine overall, but there was just nothing to get out of it for me. And as I think this movie is what Mother wasn't, but it gave me more of what I wanted for the most part. And the first act is basically a very depressing, somber drama, as opposed to the second and third acts, which are horror. It goes into a horror film, and that's the only thing that kind of bothered me, is that I was enjoying that somber tone that's set up. But aside from that, I don't have any other problems with it. I think the third act is almost perfect. There's just a couple of shots that I didn't like, where they have an establishing shot of the house, and it looks like a model, and I'm just like, why? Maybe it's just me. So there's the best movie of the year, and I completely forgot I saw this movie. Don't ask why. It just slipped my mind. Incredibles 2. This is also a really great movie, and I haven't seen The Incredibles for a long time, and I've waited 14 years for this sequel, and I think it paid off. The only thing I didn't like was the villain. That was the worst part of the movie, because the villain's motivations didn't make any sense to me. But aside from that, the humor is great. The characters that I love from the first film are back, and they're great in this movie as well. And the voice acting is great, along with the beautiful animation that really holds this movie up to as great as it is. And there are all the movies I saw in June. And since July is almost over, my next video is going to be recapping everything I saw in July. Because I think that's going to be quicker to make, and I like doing these, making one video containing multiple reviews of other movies that I've seen, not just one and another and click to another. I just wanted to do one whole video, and I hope you guys enjoyed me reviewing all these movies. Sorry about not putting up any content for a long time, but I hope this makes up for that. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of any of these movies down below. My social media will be down in the description below. Follow me there. And subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation. And I'll see you when I get my next video up. And until then, thank you for watching and have a great day.